So let's talk about the NETA ECS. Okay, this is the 2024 version. If you've got an older version, try to make sure you get it updated to the newer version. But this is the 2024 NETA ECS. Okay, this is the electrical commissioning specification. Now I want to be pretty clear about this, and I've seen this get confused a lot. There's a lot of people who think that if I go out there and I do a no trip check on a differential scheme, that I'm commissioning that gear, and that is not true. Okay, that is a functional check that's required in the NETA ATS for your differential schemes. Okay, um, but that is just one of many things that is required to electrically commission. Okay, that is not actually commissioning. That's just a functional check. Okay, transformers under here. If you go ahead and you start getting to liquid filled transformers, or even power relays and everything else, you'll start to see some operational checks that are required to happen. Okay, those are part of the ATS. Let's talk about what ECS really is. Okay, now one thing I didn't mention in the last video that I kind of wanted to say for the ECS, but it's kind of both, right? Is that the testing personnel that are on site, yeah, they have to be certified. But the second thing is each on-site crew leader shall hold a certification level 3 or higher. That means the crew leader, whoever's on site, you have to have someone on site level 3 or higher. That's just what NETA says. I see it doesn't happen, and there's a lot of times it doesn't happen. I'm not here to pick on people, but it's black and white. That's what NETA says. Okay. And I want to really beat it up here because when you're doing the ECS, this is usually something where you can really make or break a lot of people's spirits by not following the standard. Okay, so the NETA ECS and the NETA ATS and MTS require, in order to do NETA certified testing, you must have a level 3 or higher on site. Okay, and if you're going to do ECS testing, how can you verify that without having the proper people on site to test, right? So a lot of these tests that are in here, and here's all their standards. You can see that it takes from a different standard list and references than the other books. But what is commissioning, right? So let's talk about what commissioning really is. This right here is commissioning. Commissioning is a turnkey package, okay? When you want to hire someone to commission your gear, in my personal opinion, those people are not going to be performing testing. Okay, they're going to be witnessing testing. Those are the people who come in, they gather all the manufacturer's documentations, they gather all of the test reports, all of your manuals from your gear, they go over engineer specifications, and they're sitting there making sure that all your I's are dotted and all your T's are crossed. And that's what commissioning is. So here is the commissioning specification. Okay. And yes, is field testing required to meet commissioning specifications? Absolutely. Okay. Are functional tests required? Yes, absolutely. Okay. But these people are not required usually to perform that. All right. You don't, it's just like you don't want a manufacturer doing your NETA testing, right? Because then it's not third party anymore. You want someone independent. You want someone independent doing your commissioning too. That way they can't fudge your test reports. Okay. So you come down here and you start looking at it. Here's all your requirements. Essentially, the commissioning organization is required to sit here and make sure that they have all documentation as a turnkey package. Okay, that's what it really is. Commissioning personnel should be really experienced people. Okay, that's right here. All right, be able to make judgment calls. The owner is required to have a plan and provide basically everything to the commissioning guys so that way they can review it. All right, commissioning guys are going to sit here and they're going to look over all test reports, all commissioning docs, anything that's related to manufacturer spat testing, field testing, ATS. It doesn't matter what it is. Uh, Protection reports, making sure that coordination lines up. Sometimes you'll find that the protection curves for low voltage circuit breakers, the engineer accidentally put in the wrong part number for the breaker, and so 5 of these don't even line up. Well, let your commissioning guy know I can't test these breakers, that I don't have the right curves. And they'll go track it down and make sure it gets done. They're kind of like a project manager almost for your commissioning. Okay. So there's a lot of stuff that goes in the beginning of the book. Look it over, right? And this is mostly requirements of the commissioning agency and of the owner of the gear. Okay. Now we go into the report, right? So this is a commissioning report, summary of the project, description of final commissioning plan. This is a full plan, okay? Logs, reports, reviews, acceptance testing, performance criteria, identification of assemblies that don't meet the manufacturer's requirements, analysis and final recommendations, plan for anything that's incomplete. So if you turn over this entire turnkey package, what wasn't done, okay? And then as left in IED settings. So every setting should be recorded. Commissioning progress reports. This says kind of like, it doesn't have to be super in depth, but how did the plan go? How did the process go? Okay. And logs and issues should all be tracked and how they're completed. Okay. Drawing packages. Operators manuals were right here. Okay. This is all part that's required for the commissioning package. Okay. Here is your commissioning intent according to NETA. Commissioning is a systematic process of verifying, documenting, and placing into service newly or retrofitted electrical power equipment and systems. Doesn't say anything specifically about ATS testing. Okay. Doesn't say anything about functional testing or startup checks. Okay. Those are going to be completed during your ATS testing. All right. So when you're going through your commissioning plan, this is the layout for the commissioning plan. Here's more right here, identifies roles, blah, blah, blah. And then at the very end, a process for approval by the owner and turnover of the project and equipment. Okay. Like I said, turnkey project. After you get done, you've got low voltage systems, medium voltage, and high voltage. All right. So find the one that you need. As you go through this, what you'll see is what I've been saying all along. Okay. You're going to have to do your electrical testing. That electrical testing is going to be right here. Okay. Here's all your testing requirements. All right. And then review factory and field acceptance test data. Okay, that's right here. Review nameplate and equipment ratings, right? We're trying to make sure it's installed exactly as it was designed, okay? As a commissioning specification, you are not required to be an engineer. You feed it back to the engineer, okay? But you're a commissioning team, and this is your job. I've seen commissioning teams that have no clue what they're doing, and they're so far behind on the paperwork. This is an outline. This gives you everything of what's required. Just structure it. Make your Excel documents and your trackers, whatever you need to do, and get it outlined. Okay. We're going to go through and we're going to do other types of things. Okay. Verify medium voltage, have adequate means for temporary protect. This means that you have to verify that the protection systems work properly. Okay. The grounding and the bonding is proper. All right. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this. Limit switches. Now, look, you don't have to sit there and go measure the limit switches. But what you should be able to do is sit there and open and operate that breaker. You can see that when it's in the the, the locked out position and the truck is locked out, that you can't operate the breaker. There's a limit switch that does that, right? And then you've got other things here where you can go ahead and verify neutral grounding system, right? Operation of a protection schemes, verify operation of transfer schemes. This could be your main tie main. So that means that you should ideally build a procedure for a main tie main, make before break, break before make, or you can call it a close or open transition. Make your schemes and your processes, give them to your testing agency and say, this is what we need you to do, and you're going to witness it. Okay. That way you are still third party. All right. This is how this stuff should be done. All right. Pre-energization checks. Okay. This is where you can go through and you can verify differential schemes operate. Right. Do your trip, no trip checks. There's a lot of stuff that you can do. Alarms and indicators. There's so much stuff in here I'm not going to go into. Even developing a written energization plan. That's your commissioning team, not your ATS team. Okay. If you are and this is why I'm really harping on this. If you are a sales technician telling people that, yeah, you could start up that gear for them, you need to be really specific on what you are telling that customer. Because I hear customers say, you said you were going to commission it for me. No, 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 no. Commissioning is a completely different animal. Okay. If you want me to commission your gear, that's going to take 2 weeks of paperwork. Okay. If you want me to just do a startup check and turn on the switch, I can have that done by COB at the end of the day. Okay. So you need to identify and sell properly what you're actually doing. Okay. So that's why we're really harping on this and going through it. Even post energization has quite a bit of requirements. Okay. All of this is required to be done. And this is the commissioning team. They can delegate a lot of this to an ATS or a NETA testing company. And then that way you can have two NETA testing companies. One is commissioning and one is doing the work. Okay. And that way you can verify independence and proper actual third party independent testing. The person who's doing your ATS generally shouldn't be the same person signing off all your reports for your commissioning, because then they can sit there and they could write whatever they really wanted to. And that's not what we want. Okay. So with that, I hope that helps everyone. I hope that helps the sales guys actually properly bid things, because I see this a lot from customers and customers get really confused. So sometimes as a technician, we need to educate our sales guys and sometimes we need to educate our customers. There's nothing wrong in that. Sometimes they need to educate us, but let's just make sure that we're doing it right. All right. Hopefully this helps. Have a good day.